Long before the bells of Christmas echoed through bustling towns and serene villages, humanity's connection to the cosmos shaped its sense of time, purpose, and celebration. Imagine a world where winter reigned supreme, a time when survival depended on understanding the natural cycles of life. In ancient Europe, long before the rise of Christianity, the turning point of the year was marked by the winter solstice, the darkest and longest night of the year. To the ancient peoples of the north, this night symbolized more than a celestial event, it was a profound battle between darkness and light. Communities would gather to honor Yule, a word derived from the Old Norse Jol, which referred to a midwinter festival celebrating the rebirth of the sun. During these sacred rituals, massive logs, Yule logs, were selected with great care. These logs weren't merely firewood, they were symbols of life and renewal, lit to invite warmth, fertility, and the triumph of light over darkness into their homes. The Yule log burned brightly for days, while families and villages shared stories, exchanged small tokens, and feasted on the year's harvest. They adorned their homes with evergreen branches, plants that defied winter's icy grip, symbolizing resilience and eternal life. These traditions weren't random, they were deeply spiritual, serving as a reminder that life, even in its darkest moments, would rise again. But in the heart of the Roman Empire, far to the south, a different winter tradition unfolded. The Saturnalia, named after Saturn, the god of agriculture, was a week-long celebration of chaos and revelry. Beginning on December 17th, it turned society upside down. Masters and slaves swapped roles, families indulged in feasts, and colorful garlands of greenery decked every corner of the city. The streets came alive with singing, laughter, and a carnival-like spirit that blurred the lines of social order. The Romans exchanged strini, small gifts meant to bring luck and prosperity for the coming year, while homes displayed holly and ivy as symbols of protection and celebration. These customs, joyful yet deeply pagan, were an essential part of the Roman calendar. As the solstice rituals of the north met the decadence of Saturnalia in the south, a question emerges: could such deeply ingrained practices ever be replaced? Or were they destined to evolve into something greater, something universal? Pause for a moment and ask yourself, is the Christmas we celebrate truly Christian, or is it a story from ancient traditions? As we explore these layers of history, let's step into a world on the brink of transformation, where faith, culture, and power collide to birth something entirely new. As the winter solstice brought light into the hearts of northern tribes, the Roman Empire celebrated a very different kind of festival, Saturnalia. Picture the bustling streets of ancient Rome. Vendors lined cobblestone alleys, their stalls brimming with figs, honeyed pastries, and garlands of green. The scent of roasted meats filled the air, mingling with the laughter and song of citizens shedding their everyday roles for a week of unbridled joy. Saturnalia was more than a feast, it was a societal paradox. Masters and slaves swapped roles, an act that temporarily dissolved the rigid hierarchy that defined Roman life. Imagine a wealthy patrician serving wine to their servant, laughing together in a rare moment of equality. It was a glimpse of an ideal Rome, where barriers dissolved and humanity united, if only for a fleeting celebration. The streets pulsed with energy as processions paraded, their participants dressed in flamboyant costumes and masks. Children played freely, adults gambled openly, and strangers greeted each other with cries of "Io Saturnalia," a jubilant declaration of joy and freedom. Families exchanged strini, small but meaningful gifts symbolizing good fortune and blessings for the year ahead. Even the gods were not immune to the revelry. Shrines and temples dedicated to Saturn overflowed with offerings, as Romans sought the favor of the deity who represented agriculture, abundance, and renewal. Holly and ivy adorned every doorway, believed to ward off evil spirits and invite prosperity. Candles flickered in every home, illuminating the long winter nights with a promise of brighter days to come. But underneath the laughter and camaraderie lay an unspoken truth: Saturnalia was a fleeting escape, not a solution. As the week drew to a close, the societal structures snapped back into place. Masters reclaimed their authority, slaves returned to their labor, and the rigid lines of Roman society were redrawn. Yet, the echoes of Saturnalia endured, embedding themselves in the cultural consciousness. When Christianity began to rise within the Roman Empire, these joyous, deeply ingrained traditions posed a challenge. How could a faith that emphasized humility and spiritual discipline coexist with such a raucous festival? The solution was not to fight Saturnalia but to transform it, weaving its joy and unity into a new narrative. Does this sound familiar? The gift exchanges, the candles, the greenery, the feast, all staples of our modern Christmas, can be traced back to this ancient Roman celebration. Saturnalia, with its chaotic joy and subversion of norms, left a legacy that continues to shape how we celebrate today. Yet, this revelation leaves us pondering, is the Christmas we know truly Christian, or is it a celebration reimagined from ancient traditions? And more importantly, does understanding these origins change its meaning for us today? Have you ever wondered what other hidden truths lie behind our most cherished traditions? Join us on this journey as we peel back the layers of history, faith, and culture. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective might unlock a piece of the story we've yet to discover. Together, we'll uncover the mysteries that shape our lives. Imagine standing before an ancient world, its threads woven with care over centuries. It's beautiful, intricate, and deeply flawed in places. Do you discard it entirely, or do you carefully mend and reweave it, preserving its beauty while giving it new purpose? This analogy captures the dilemma faced by early Christian leaders as they encountered the deeply ingrained traditions of Saturnalia and other pagan festivals. Christianity, growing steadily within the Roman Empire, brought a message of hope, love, and salvation. Yet it faced resistance, not from hostility alone, but from a cultural inertia that clung to time-honored rituals. People found comfort in their traditions, whether it was the warmth of Saturnalia's festivities or the solemnity of solstice rituals in the north. These celebrations were more than habits, they were expressions of identity, tied to the rhythms of life. The church leaders of the time understood this. Rather than waging a feudal war against these beloved customs, they saw an opportunity, transformation instead of rejection. Much like we approach problems in our own lives, mending what is broken instead of discarding it, they sought to reshape these celebrations into something that aligned with Christian values while preserving their joyous spirit. One of the most brilliant examples of this strategy was the deliberate choice of December 25th as the date to commemorate the birth of Christ. It wasn't chosen because it was historically accurate. In fact, most biblical scholars agree that Jesus was likely born in the spring, given the mention of shepherds in the fields. Instead, this date was chosen because it aligned closely with the solstices and the festival of Sol Invictus, or the unconquered sun, celebrated across the Roman Empire. By placing the birth of Christ, the light of the world, on this date, the Church invited people to shift their focus. Instead of celebrating the return of the physical sun, they could now celebrate the spiritual sun, whose light promised to banish the darkness of sin and despair. The symbolism was elegant, a seamless weaving of the old into the new. This approach wasn't limited to dates. Many symbols and traditions of Christmas have roots in ancient practices, but their meanings were reshaped. The evergreen trees, once symbols of life enduring through winter, became reminders of eternal life in Christ. The candles that lit the long nights now represented the light of faith illuminating a dark world. Even the 12 Days of Christmas, a familiar carol to us, echoed the 12-day pagan feasts, now reimagined to honor the journey of the Magi. This strategy of transformation is a lesson for us today. How often do we encounter challenges in our own lives that seem too entrenched to overcome? Perhaps a relationship that feels irreparably strained or a habit that seems impossible to break. Instead of rejecting or abandoning these, could we, like the early Christians, transform them? Could we weave something new and meaningful from the threads of the old? This brings us to a critical reflection. Was the transformation of these pagan festivals into Christmas an act of compromise, or was it an inspired act of redemption? As we delve further, consider how this question applies not just to history, but to our lives today. When you look at your own traditions, challenges, or even personal struggles, do you lean toward rejection or transformation? As we continue exploring the rich tapestry of Christmas's history, we invite you to ponder this in your own life. How can transformation bring light where there is darkness? As we journey deeper into the origins of Christmas, let us step back and view it not merely as a holiday but as a cultural puzzle, where each piece tells a story, some familiar, others shrouded in mystery. What emerges is a festival rich in symbolism, contradiction, and intrigue. Imagine yourself in ancient Israel. The bustling city of Bethlehem hums with life, shepherds tend their flocks under a starlit sky, and travelers navigate dusty roads. The biblical narrative of Christ's birth, simple yet profound, begins here. But curiously, this holy event lacks specifics about the time of year. Why? The Gospels focus on meaning, not minutiae, leaving space for interpretation. Fast forward centuries, and you find church leaders assigning December 25th as Christ's birth. On one level, this decision was strategic, a way to ease the transition from pagan customs to Christian devotion. But was there more? Some scholars point to cosmic symbolism. December 25th marks the first perceptible lengthening of daylight after the winter solstice. Could this choice reflect a divine poetry, Christ, the light of the world, arriving as the physical light begins its victorious return? But what about the characters we associate with Christmas? Take the Magi, for example. Often referred to as wise men or kings, the original Greek text uses the term magoi, indicating Zoroastrian priests or astrologers from the East. They brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh, gifts laden with spiritual significance. Gold, a symbol of kingship, frankincense, representing divinity, and myrrh, foreshadowing Christ's sacrificial death. The Magi's journey also highlights a deeper truth: Christmas is not merely a Western invention but a global story. These travelers from distant lands remind us that the message of Christ transcends borders, cultures, and traditions. It's a powerful testament to the universal appeal of this celebration, which continues to evolve across continents. Let's turn now to another enduring symbol, the Christmas tree. Evergreen trees, revered by pagans for their defiance of winter's deathly grip, found new meaning under Christian interpretation. By the Middle Ages, fir trees were decorated with apples to represent the forbidden fruit of Eden, a poignant reminder of humanity's fall. Later, candles were added, symbolizing Christ's light piercing the darkness of sin. Over time, these symbols merged into what we now know as the modern Christmas tree, a fusion of pagan reverence for nature and Christian hope for redemption. Even the act of gift-giving has layered origins. While rooted in the Magi's offerings, it also echoes Roman customs from Saturnalia and Norse traditions of generosity during Yule. Yet, within Christian thought, it reflects the ultimate gift, God giving His Son to the world. In its essence, this act of giving is not merely transactional but sacrificial, mirroring divine love. Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of Christmas is how it balances the sacred and the secular. Think of a bustling modern Christmas market. Lights twinkle, carolers sing, and families gather to share meals. Beneath the surface lies a tension. How does one reconcile the spiritual celebration of Christ's birth with the commercial frenzy that dominates much of the season? This tension, however, is not new. As early as the 17th century, Puritans in England banned Christmas celebrations, decrying them as irreverent and overly indulgent. Their critique raised an important question: can a festival retain its sacred meaning while embracing cultural evolution? This question persists today as we navigate a holiday season often caught between faith and festivity. Yet, this duality may be the very strength of Christmas. It's a reminder that sacred truths often find their way into unexpected places, hidden in the laughter of children, the warmth of family gatherings, or even the stillness of a snowy evening. Perhaps this duality reflects the very nature of Christ, who entered the world in humble circumstances yet carried the weight of divine purpose. As we stand amidst the lights and sounds of Christmas today, consider its profound paradox, a celebration both sacred and secular, ancient and modern. The next time you see a Christmas tree or exchange a gift, think of the layers of history, meaning, and mystery that brought these traditions to life. Ask yourself, what do these symbols mean to me? Are they merely relics of the past, or do they hold a deeper resonance, a connection to something timeless, eternal, and divine? As Christmas evolved, it became not just a celebration of faith but also a cultural phenomenon, weaving itself into the fabric of societies worldwide. To understand its journey, we must examine the layers of history, tradition, and even economics that have shaped it into the global event we know today. The spread of Christmas traditions. By the 4th century, Christmas had officially entered the Christian liturgical calendar, with its inclusion heavily influenced by Emperor Constantine's conversion to Christianity. By the end of the century, Emperor Theodosius declared Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire, cementing Christmas as a key festival. From there, it spread across Europe, adapting to local customs. In Scandinavia, for instance, the Yule log continued to burn in honor of ancient solstice traditions, but now it symbolized Christ's light overcoming darkness. In Germany, the evergreen tree became central, adorned with candles to symbolize hope. By the 16th century, Martin Luther is said to have introduced the idea of decorating trees with lights to emulate the starry heavens. Fast forward to the 19th century, when Prince Albert of Germany brought the Christmas tree tradition to England upon marrying Queen Victoria. A published illustration of the royal family around a decorated tree in 1848 popularized the practice across Europe and America. In just a few decades, the Christmas tree became a household staple. The rise of modern Christmas. It was in the 19th century that Christmas truly began its transformation into the holiday we recognize today. Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, 1843, captured the spirit of generosity and family, reshaping public perception of the holiday. It's no coincidence that this was also the Victorian era, a time of industrialization and urbanization. Christmas became a way to bring people together in an increasingly fragmented society. By the early 20th century, the holiday had taken firm root in American culture. In 1870, President Ulysses S. Grant declared Christmas a federal holiday, aligning it with national identity. Advertising played a significant role in its commercialization, with Coca-Cola famously popularizing the modern image of Santa Claus in the 1930s. This jolly, red-suited figure owes his look to Saint Nicholas, a 4th-century bishop known for his generosity, combined with influences from European folklore. The numbers behind Christmas today. The scale of Christmas today is staggering. According to recent statistics, approximately 160 countries around the world celebrate Christmas in some form. In 2022, global spending on Christmas gifts was estimated at $1 trillion, with the average American spending $932 on presents alone. The Christmas tree industry in the U.S. generates nearly $2 billion annually, with approximately 30 million real trees sold each year. Streaming platforms report that Christmas movies are among their most watched genres, with classics like Home Alone and The Polar Express earning billions in cumulative revenue over the decades. These numbers highlight the holiday's evolution from a solemn religious observance to a cultural and economic juggernaut. Yet, amidst the glittering lights and bustling stores, there's an enduring question: have we lost the meaning of Christmas, or has its ability to adapt kept it alive? The global face of Christmas. While Western traditions dominate the narrative, Christmas takes on unique forms around the world. In the Philippines, the world's longest Christmas season begins in September, with lanterns symbolizing the Star of Bethlehem. In Japan, Christmas is celebrated more as a secular festival, with KFC dinners and illuminated streets taking center stage. In Ethiopia, where Orthodox Christians follow the Julian calendar, Christmas, or Jena, is celebrated on January 7th with fasting and communal feasts. Even in countries where Christianity is a minority religion, such as India and China, the holiday's symbols and practices have been adopted, blending into local cultures. This global reach is both a testament to its adaptability and a reminder of its complex history. The paradox of Christmas. As we reflect on these facts and figures, a paradox emerges. Christmas is at once deeply personal and profoundly universal, a celebration rooted in faith but carried forward by culture. Its ability to evolve has ensured its survival across millennia, but it also raises important questions. Is Christmas a sacred celebration of Christ's birth, a secular festival of joy, or a fusion of both? Perhaps this adaptability is the true miracle of Christmas. Just as the early church transformed pagan rituals into Christian practices, modern societies continue to shape the holiday to reflect their values and aspirations. Whether through the twinkling lights of a Christmas tree, the quiet prayers of a midnight mass, or the laughter shared around a dinner table, Christmas continues to bring light into the darkest time of the year. As we've uncovered, Christmas is far more than a date on the calendar or a set of traditions. It's a story of transformation, resilience, and connection that transcends time, culture, and belief. But as the lights dim on this journey, let's look at one final angle. Why does Christmas endure, even in an ever-changing world? At its core, Christmas taps into something universal, the desire for renewal and hope. Every tradition, from the evergreen tree to the exchange of gifts, whispers this truth. These practices remind us that light can always conquer darkness, that joy can emerge from hardship, and that we are all part of something greater. But here's a surprising twist: Christmas isn't static, it's still evolving. Did you know that in the past decade, the way we celebrate has changed more than ever before? Virtual gatherings, global charity campaigns, and even AI-driven Christmas playlists are redefining how we connect. The spirit, however, remains the same: togetherness, love, and giving. And perhaps that's the secret. Christmas endures not because it resists change, but because it embraces it. Just as the early Christians transformed pagan rituals into a celebration of faith, we continue to mold Christmas into something relevant, beautiful, and deeply personal. So, as you hang that final ornament or wrap that last gift, ask yourself, what does Christmas mean to me? Is it about family? Faith? A moment to pause in an otherwise chaotic world? Or is it all of these things, woven together in a celebration uniquely your own?